All right, good morning. I see the connectivity sort of on and off, so hope you can hear me. Give me a wave, give me a heart, something that lets me know you're here and you're on with me and that we are indeed live, though socially distant, soulfully social and connected. Good morning. Good morning. So, I decided I was going to come on and share from what I consider easily the most invaluable book that I have engaged in personal development. And I'd love to tell you, some of my learnings from this book and how I've put it into my own content. And I run this in live classes, live interactions, which are definitely my preference because I enjoy the whole experiential setup. This is new, this is strange, but I'm here. I'm here for the lessons, I'm here for the newness. Let's go. Like I said in my promo, get your family together. This is good bonding time. 11 a.m. I hope isn't too early for most during these self-isolation, almost global quarantine period we're going through. But to be honest, if I must speak for myself, this is my first day in a very long while where I'm up and ready to go at such an hour. It's been strange. It's been really strange having all that time to yourself. And I had just come off a trip to New York following, when everything really started shutting down the second week in March. So I literally haven't been out of my house for about 17 days now. Do I have anybody on, or am I just talking to myself here? All right, so I have a few slides to guide our conversation this morning. Also have my name tag. I thought I would try to make it as real as I possibly could. This is what I would do at a regular session. So here goes. My name is Amina. And we're here to talk on getting a life with some ginger soul, thriving in your imperfect. Perfect. How apt is this for a time such as now? Okay, so let me get my name tag on. There. Oops, can you see that? I have a whole lot of green going on, don't I? So, hello, I am Amina. And you are, I see Abby. Abby's the only one I see. Instagram telling me is on, but then I don't even hear her. Thanks for joining me, Abby. It says I'm live.
Aminat, I look terrible. Oh. Can we not just be chatting? Look at me. Let us be chatting.
I can't even laugh.
I look like a train wreck.
Oh my goodness. Considering the fact that I said, you know what? My eyes are heavy, there's bags under my eyes, but you know
See me.
what?
See
I'm
me.
just going to put a little powder on, I'm going to wear a little lipstick, and I'm
Powder.
just going to do it.
No, I can't
Hi,
even
the
do
chef
anything.
with the accent. I wish I could hear you speak so we can hear a little bit of that accent right now. Oh my God, Abby, good morning.
Morning, no,
You
morning,
are
no.
so dedicated.
You know.
Oh my
And I'm
goodness.
dealing with, I'm just tired. I haven't slept well.
Yeah,
But I
when you
said, let
said
me.
when you said are you still awake, I was like, this is actually insane. She knows my schedule too well. And I'm sure you can probably appreciate that one of the reasons I decided to do this was because I must attack the spirit of this work schedule. So, good morning, the chef with the accent. Tell me your name. I mean, I love calling you the chef with the accent, but tell me your name. So, just a little background. I'm from
Mm-hmm.
high super duper nocturnal. But with
You
the
are more
advent
than, I
of
don't know.
Corona, I
Even
have
a bat has
decided
nothing on you, Aminat.
it's
A
terrible.
bat has nothing
Terrible.
on you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the chef with the accent said, hope you ladies are keeping safe. I assure you there's no train wreck at all.
We
And,
are. We look
and
like
he
them.
sent flowers.
Oh,
Thank you. Received. Actually, I've come across your name. Thabo? Is it Thabo? Tell me if
who's
I'm
that?
saying it right. Um, oh,
Hello,
come
Jumoke
on.
Balogun. Have you seen the person that's joined?
Okay, so I love the way this works. So you also can see what's going on and who's joining.
Yeah, because they'll also tell my own friends as well that I'm on.
Okay, okay,
So yeah, like Larry Oseni, I think I know has been a friend since. Follows
okay,
me on Instagram.
fantastic, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Thabo, I did sort of get it. Am I saying it right though? Is it Thabo,
Tabu.
right?
Tabu.
Thab or Thabo? Okay.
Tabu.
So
Tabu.
Abby, who's on with me live, actually lived in South Africa. Abby, do you
Hey,
speak
let me say
any
hello to Larry. Hey,
Swahili?
Larry.
Okay, so the H is slightly silent.
Silence.
Thabo. Okay.
Hey,
Well, good
Tabu.
morning, all. So I don't know what it looks like to you, but when I hold my phone this way,
Mm-hmm.
Abby and I are vertical, which is portrait.
Mm-hmm.
But when I put my phone this way, which is a bit more comfortable for me,
You are
so
upside down a bit. You're
am I
like a bit
upside down?
tilted. Yeah, you're a bit
Ah,
tilted.
okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit more comfortable for me because I wanted my hands to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll just keep it this way for them. Good morning, all. Thanks for joining me. 11:30 during Corona Mania time zone is like 6 a.m. So Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Everybody in my household is still in bed. I'm the only one that is up. Everybody's sleeping.
I hope you're not disturbing them. Can they hear you?
No, 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 no. I'm in my dressing room, and
Okay, good.
everybody had to their own space, really.
Good,
So,
good, good, good,
uh,
good, good.
mhm.
So
Can you
here's what
see?
we're gonna do.
Can you see all
First off,
the
oh,
mess
I can
behind
see
me?
things everywhere. I hope I'm not seeing some items. I think I'm seeing now. I'm just teasing. I just see a lot of clothing. So Abby right here
Mostly
is
shoes and bags and stuff.
a designer, a clothes maker. So no surprises that her study, wardrobe, sort of personal space would
Yeah, this
have
is where I do my thing.
would
Yes.
have so much going on, fabric and everything hanging. Good
Mm-hmm.
morning, everybody. How are you today? Tell us with a wave of hands, drop a heart. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with how this works, but pretty much I'm live. You've all joined me, and Abby, who was the first person on, has requested to come on live with me. So if it's working right, you should be able to see me and you should be able to see
Hey,
Abby.
Mpo has joined.
Yay! Mbo's joined us.
Hey,
All my
hey,
girls coming up
girl.
in the house. So, you should be able to see Abby and I. You should be able to hear Abby and I. If that is correct on your end, give us a wave, give us a heart. I particularly like green hearts, but feel free to go with any heart color you like. Thank you so much for joining me. I thought to myself when I decided to do this, how many people do you think are out there, crazy as you, who at 11 a.m. in the morning, when they could be sleeping, want to get on live, share, interact, learn? But you know what? I thought as I started having those little creeping, limiting beliefs that there's no better time than now to get up and do something like this. Bring people together, share in knowledge that you've used during a difficult time and how it helped you move through that difficult time. Let people discuss, chew on the content, and we'll take it from there. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So considering we said 11 and I've been on maybe twice, it would disconnect one time. I think my power just went out completely. All my Nigerian brothers and sisters in the house understand this where, power zonks out, takes Wi-Fi with it, and then it comes right back on.
Haha, Niger factor.
And you know what? I
Hmm.
actually want to take a moment to let's just appreciate in this moment. Appreciate all the imperfections. Appreciate within the imperfections what continues to work for us. I
Hmm.
saw a really, gut wrenching video last night, and this
Hmm.
woman was just lamenting.
Oh
And
yeah, I
initially,
saw it. It's gone
did you see
viral.
that?
Yeah, I saw the
Initially, I was
video.
like, what is she lamenting about? Why is she lamenting? I know our governance isn't perfect, but at this time, let's give the devil his dues and recognize that, there's been a lot of stepping up,
Mm-hmm.
definitely from Lagos State, which is where we're from and we reside. Fabo, I know you're in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, and even the federal government, I will say, has really stepped up their response to the emergence of coronavirus in our environment. So when
Mm-hmm.
I
I
first saw
agree.
this woman saying, you agree, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfect, but hey, we'll take what we're getting now over what we've gotten in the past
What used
during
to be,
crisis, right?
yeah, they're
So
trying.
when I saw this woman lamenting, I was like, why is she lamenting? What is all this negativity about? Let's even appreciate what we have first and then move on.
No,
But
I
by the
think the
end,
woman, I think she was just fed up. I mean,
no, no,
she was
no.
tired.
I mean, the
She
thing
was.
is, in the beginning, I didn't even know what she was going on about.
Okay, so you were
Then
like, what's going on here? Yeah.
yes, I heard her start
Mm-hmm.
to talk about power. And honestly, she didn't get to the end before I cried. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
it was
we
sad.
take so much for granted. Again, I'm going to keep repeating. It's not perfect. This is why we're talking about thriving in our imperfect perfect. But oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, how perfect that imperfection is. We live in serviced communities. When power goes out, it's more often
Mm-hmm.
than not going to come almost right back on. Several years ago, this wasn't my reality. When we lived in Lekki, We were in a freestanding house, detached, I guess is what we call them. And
Yeah.
if power went out and we didn't put on our gen, then we had no lights. And so we were very careful how we used power back then. We rationed a lot. So, let's take that moment to just be grateful for the things that we do have.
Hmm.
And for all that we don't, we keep
And then
asking
remember the people that don't have, I
that
mean,
don't have
if
at
you look at
all.
that video, that woman, to me, if you ask me, still represented, I mean, the average class, though it's non-existent in Nigeria, but she still,
Yeah.
you can see the comfortable background,
Yeah.
she's talking about our neighbors having generators. I mean, that really doesn't even tell the true picture of what exists in Nigeria. I mean, if you have to go into the deeper area, like, I don't know if it's okay to mention areas where people survive with nothing really.
Yeah.
Maybe some even survive with less than 500 naira a day, and they have a
I
family.
mean, like, can you even imagine that?
Now,
You know,
then people will do, yeah. So
when I
it's
when I think of 500 naira, it can either buy me groundnuts, the shelled
hmm
groundnuts. I really like boiled groundnuts, or it can buy toilet roll. I guess toilet paper is 100 naira a roll. It can buy a stick of suya,
yeah,
which you and I know when you're eating one stick of suya, it's like now I'm about to
it's
buy
done.
myself. Where's all the meat? So to even fathom anybody surviving on 500 naira a day is very hard for a lot of us. Not to
Mhm.
mention a family
Well, that's the
thriving on
reality.
500 naira a day.
That's most people's reality. Sad, but that's their reality, and it is what it is. So, I mean, she's
It's
comparing our neighbor's generator. It's really, really sad what happens in how we have to manage to exist in this country. That's just the truth. And even for business owners, it's what we deal with. I mean, let's talk about
and
that.
I think rightfully so. This
Hmm.
period is really just poking the lights, shining the lights at all the holes in our environment. I'm trying to set my phone down in a way where I won't have to hold it.
Yeah, that's the difficulty about this life,
Mm.
Instagram life.
To, to be honest with you, I had set up an area where I was going to work, and I'll share pictures of it later. Okay, so far so good. I hope it doesn't drop. So I had set up my work area, sort of my
Mm.
makeshift work area, in front of my bookshelf, and I set all my props, which is, just another thing about thriving in your imperfect, perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
there we go. Okay, stop it. Organized my space, overnight. I plugged in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a picture of my screen to share later. And then I wake up and I know Abby's like, you woke up from what sleep when? I mean, I barely
Like
laid my
an
head
hour
down.
sleep or what?
Barely laid my
Did
head
you
down
even
for
sleep
2
at
hours.
all?
I dozed off a little, and to my shock, my phone was literally not charged.
Because you slept off without charging it.
I did plug it in though. I
Oh,
plugged
you
it
didn't
in.
put on the switch.
Everything. I saw the little bzzz, that thing that shows you that concentrate, Abby.
Why is this girl picking on me?
She said concentrate. All
Concentrate
right.
on what?
Oh my God, you're. All right, let's get right into it. And as we go, please, people, let
Hey,
us know you're
darling.
there. Let us know you're there. Give us waves. Give us comments. What I would really love to do with you all, without taking too much time, is just share with you on, some life learnings that I've taken from some of my own experiences, and then, of course, from the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And I put all this in my promo. Hello, Gary. I see you're Abby's person. Welcome aboard. I'll
Hmm.
keep doing the hellos as I go. So here's my screen with what I would normally go through during a live interaction. Let me share a little with you all on just getting up and doing things. I started as a transformational life coach about 2 years ago. And how did I begin this journey? I started this journey coming through major adversity myself. My friends who are on the chat know what I'm talking about. I ran a hospitality business, a restaurant, to be specific, for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016 in Victoria Island, Lagos. It was called Ginger Tappers and Grill. If anybody here remembers Ginger, give us a wave. Give us a heart. Needlepoint woman. Hey.
Hello,
Hey,
Teresa.
Teresa.
Hey,
Long time,
Teresa.
Teresa. Long time. Okay, so you know, I'm going to let Abby do all the greeting and I'll just keep going. How does that sound? So that I don't
Okay.
distract too much from the content. Um, so lost my restaurant, and you would think, okay, business loss, big deal, wipe up, the tears and keep going. What was not apparent to a lot of people in the market was that I was also dealing with just major feelings of dissatisfaction, of stagnancy, thinking I could do better, I could be more, I could have gone further even with the business before I lost it. And then also facing some head on domestic challenges. We had an interesting leader of the states at that point in time. We shan't mention names, but I think most know who I'm talking about. And
Mm-hmm.
Governor was really just going through a game of cowboys and Indians with people's lives, with people's well being, running the state of Lagos. He was literally waking up on the whim, just axing jobs or demoting people.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that impacted my family. My husband was one of those people impacted. We're not going to dwell too much on that, but you can only imagine the toll that took on the family. He's technically not fully out of work, but might as well be for how he felt about his new position. I'm out of work. I've just randomly lost my business. So we kind of thought at that time it might be good to, maybe try some new things, new environments, and take a break from the present realities. And my break was taking time out of the country for a bit. So thank God I was able to change environment, like physically change environment. Now I'm out of town in what I'm going to almost call no man's land, right? I'm back in Atlanta where we started out life with our children, where we thought we knew the terrains and that I could handle it. Not so. 20 years after being in corporate America, going into Nigeria, working in corporate for the 5 years I worked at ARM, going back to America, you're not the same person. And the environment is not the same environment you left.
Mm.
So whatever pipe dreams I had of, finding a job and immediately settling back into that rat race didn't happen. Now, not only didn't it happen because it was a different environment I had gone back to, we're believing God is all we can do at this time, right? And that's why we really want to talk about thriving in our imperfect perfect. I also, to my shock, was borderline depressed. I just couldn't even get up and get out to go find anything. So you want to talk about looking for work, getting a resume together, interviewing? I had no interest. I kind of was just, in my own little corner,
Mm.
wanting to be dejected, and I was that way for months. And I slowly but surely started reading, just started, interacting with the world again. And I say it not lightly that this book right here was
Is it
responsible for.
upside down? I mean, that's.
Is it upside down? Can
Is
you all
it?
see?
I'm seeing it looking upside. I don't know.
Oh,
Can you
really?
turn
Okay,
it?
so
Flip it
I'm not
because.
I'm not holding it upside down. Yeah. Why
Okay.
don't I? So do you see now
That's better.
the 15
Mm-hmm.
invaluable laws of growth? You can see all the creases in it. You can see all my notes in it. So I got this book in 2015. I was still running the restaurant. Restaurant was thriving. Like I said, I was sort of always looking for more. Being out of corporate as an entrepreneur, I have about four entrepreneurs that I'm aware of on the call. you all know what it's like. It can get very lonely. It can get like, where do I go for leadership? Who's holding my hands? What guidance do I have? And I was beginning to feel like that a little bit. So I joined a coaching program with the amazing coach Lilian. She will join us during the course of these days. And this was one of the first things we got in her mastermind session. It was a group of about 8 of us. And 2015, I kind of just put the book away. I went on vacation that summer. I think I read maybe half of the first chapter, dropped it. Then 2016, life kept going on. 2017, when I'm trying to recover from life happening to me, I picked it up again, and that's when I really got into it. So without boring you too much with my back-end details, let's actually just think about growth in terms of development. What are your plans to develop yourself, Abby, since I have you on with me? What are your plans to develop others? What is your PGA? When we say PGA, we're not talking golf, people. We're not talking golf. What do we think we're talking about? What's your PGA?
You tell us, Aminat.
Your personal development agenda. Our business, our community, our social impact, none of that is going to grow much further than our personal growth. We do have to take care of our personal growth. And the first chapter,
it's important.
Not even the first chapter, the first line of this book, John Maxwell opens with, having a conversation with a person that would eventually become, a mentor of his. And the first question that this man asked him was, John, what are your plans to develop yourself? And he was like, what? Plans to develop myself? What has that got to do with this meeting? He tried to wing it. And, the gentleman responded, you don't have a plan, right? He was like, no, I don't have a plan. And that's sort of how, my mind started opening to the notion of having a personal development plan, because it is so easy, right, for us to get up and
quick question, Amina.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So the personal growth development, it has to do with yourself as a person, or can it then translate to your hopes and aspirations for your business?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. Yeah. All of that is within the realm of personal development. But what personal development is all about, if you ask me, if I put my definition and Webster will take it, is about self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-growth, owning up, showing up, taking full responsibility for all that is happening in your life. And, if you have spiritual leanings, which I know that we all do on this call, because I so far recognize most people, and the people whom I don't, let's just assume, or you can tell me if I'm wrong. Even in our spiritual leanings, if we're really reading and paying attention and practicing, 99% of what it's all about is that we're constantly working on ourselves. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly getting better. We're striving to the best of that potential that we've been created with, right? And John Maxwell, as the leadership guru, is just one of those people. Of course, now there's so many people in the personal development space we can reference. Lisa Nichols is another amazing coach that I follow. These are people who are just beginning to teach more and more on us taking the intentional action for ourselves to develop ourselves, which leads us right into the first law within the 15 laws of growth. The law of just being intentional about what you want for yourself.
Paul just said something.
Yes,
you want to read it?
Yes, Paul said, and being intentional about what you want for yourself, for your growth. And this brings us right to John Maxwell's first law of growth, the law of intentionality. Growth doesn't just happen, my people. Growth doesn't just happen. It takes a series of intentional actions. Let me just focus on this slide, for example, right? Most of you who also know me know when I got out of Running Ginger, Tapas and Grill, when I joined the personal development
Nothing.
transformation space. I branded my business Ginger by Amina. Well, if you follow, I've been in the process of rebranding over the last year into Ginger Soul Lifestyle because we're a lifestyle entity and we're about so much more than hospitality on the one hand, personal development and personal branding. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
full circle transformational lifestyle endeavor. Now, it's taken me so long to decide that I want to, keep doing public classes. So I've only been
Mm-hmm.
working for, maybe private individuals or for companies as they let me in. 90% of that reason has been I'm trying to rebrand. So there's so much to develop and everything hasn't been developed. So I've sort of been hiding behind that. And I've had quite a bit of travel in the last year. Well, I decided, it's now or never during this corona times.
Mm.
I was as my friend Abby should tell you, I was really getting into a funk. I had just come back into town as the coronavirus pandemic was really beginning to hit Nigeria. So I just completed my own self isolation, my own quarantine on Sunday, which was the
Yeah.
29th. I
Mm-hmm.
finally thought, I can take a deep breath and maybe step out a little bit. Then the federal government imposes theirs.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't been out. I haven't been able to do anything. I
Mm.
can't talk about my hours. This is my first
I
time.
can. I can.
Abby, please talk about my hours. Please talk about what you
Amina's
know of my
hours
hours.
are crazy. I mean, this girl will give a bat a run for its sleeping money. Girl
Uh,
does not sleep. While everybody is up and about, that's when Amina sleeps. And I think maybe what we
Dubai.
get
Do you
two
see
hours,
Dubai?
3 hours of sleep,
There,
I
Dubai.
yeah. So yeah, get
So
right back into it. But I
yeah, so
worry about that. So
it's been bad, from time
mm,
I'm nocturnal, but in this period it's really just been terrible. I try to sleep and I find myself awake and the birds start chirping at 7 a.m. and I haven't slept a wink. And then I finally crashed out maybe at about 8, 9 a.m. And then what happens? I'm asleep till about 6 p.m. So the day is gone. When normal people are getting things done, I'm not available. And it was really beginning to irk me and bother me because I know it's not the norm. Now, school is out. So what do you think has happened to my daughter for a week? She's more or less joined my cycle, which makes no sense for a 12-year-old, right? So I said, I need to fight this. I need to get out of it. And the only way that I know that I'm able to get out of this is to have somewhere that I'm going in the morning. Well, I have nowhere that I'm going, but guess what? I can come here and be with you and share and learn as we're interacting together. So that's sort of how I said I'm going to do this. So to my point of what I was saying about the first law of growth being the law of intentionality, our journey to success must be intentional. I could keep making the excuse, I don't have the perfect graphics, I'm rebranding, but I was like, no, I've been so fed. I've been so fed by so many other people in social media.
hello,
Okay.
Juliet. I don't know. Is
I've
that
been,
your
so,
friend?
I've been, lifted. People are, giving live sessions. People record things and then they put it on Instagram TV, YouTube. Sometimes it can get overwhelming if you don't select well and give yourself a break. But you know what? Once I've heard the main news and I sort of know where we are with facts in the news regarding this pandemic, I tune out. I can't do too much of it, but instead, I've been finding a lot of joy, blessings, and knowledge that I can apply to my personal development, to my family, and even to my business. To Abby's point about does personal development also encompass, our businesses and all that? It encompasses every sphere of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the more I was getting from other people, the more I was beginning to feel a sense of obligation, like you should be able to give something back too at this time. But I couldn't be up to do it.
Ooh, Raggedy Baba has joined. Hey.
Hi, Rogedi Baba. All right, Paul, we got you. And
Okay.
also, please, Abby's here helping me, co-pilot. But if anybody would like to request to join me, let us know. So Abby will get up for a while. Somebody comes on so we can see another face. We can get your questions also as we dive into it. But let's talk about the journey to success being intentional. One of the things that John Maxwell says, and I love to repeat, is that nothing happens till we set the intention to do it. Agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
If
I
you
agree.
agree, yeah, give me a
Once
hands
I
up.
agree.
Give me a hands up. Give me something. Let us know that we're all in
Hmm.
this together. This is what
I mean,
John
you can't
Allen
plan
said.
anything or achieve anything without really having the intention to achieve.
You
So
must set the
you
intention
must set your goals. You must,
to even get
so.
started.
Hmm.
All right, let me grab my water. At this season, I hope we're all doing all we can to stay hydrated. One of the
Yeah.
important things we've been told is keep ourselves hydrated, keep our acidic content high. Just
This is my. Let me say hello to hello. Oh my
all
goodness.
right. So I don't know how many people here have heard of As a Man Thinketh or read it. It's a book. I
What
haven't
was the
read it.
question? I mean, I didn't even get that. What was it?
As a Man Thinketh.
As a man
It's a book.
thinker. It's a
Yeah,
book.
it's a book by John Allen. I haven't read it in its entirety also, but my coach, Coach Lina Adibola of 360 Degrees, she had told me about it when we started our
Mm-hmm.
session. It's
Mm-hmm.
a must read. Excuse me. As we
Okay.
go through this, I'll also be trying to drop some resources that we can all go back to. Anybody in the house heard of Blink? It's just one of the apps I've discovered over the last few months, and Blink was made for people like me.
Mm.
Um, it's an app that really just allows you to get the high level gist of books, non-fictional books specifically. So what John Allen says about man is this,
Mm-hmm.
that people are often anxious to improve their circumstances, right? But for whatever reason seem unwilling to improve themselves. So guess what? We remain bound. It's literally like, taking your own self. I'm trying to set my phone down for a quick minute.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, hold on. It's like taking yourself and gripping yourself by the arm,
Mm-hmm.
but yet you want to be free. You know what I mean? It's almost impossible. For you to be free, you've got to let go. You've got to be willing to do something different. You've got to be willing to make change. Otherwise,
Mm.
you stay exactly where you are. Another thing that I talk about quite a bit that my coach
I'm sorry
Sunny
to
coach.
cut you. You said if you're not willing to let go,
Yes.
then what to discover
you
something
you
new?
you
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 better to
remain
stay where
bound.
you are.
you
Is that
you
what you just
remain
said?
bound. You remain bound. So people are often anxious to improve their circumstances,
Mm.
but they're not willing to improve themselves, therefore they remain bound. So when I showed you sort of the arm lock, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm locking onto my arm like that, but I say, oh, I want to be free, I want to move, I want to walk, I want to go faster, I can't really. I have to be willing to drop that and give myself the room to expand and grow. So, this is one of my favorite slides when I teach a live session. What would you like to improve about yourself? Ponder it, write it down. Show me we're here together and we're all participating. Just write it down, just drop it. For me, if I zoom in, I don't know how many people can see this picture. It's what I considered a real cute picture of myself till I zoomed in close. I'm outside the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Chicago. I'm going in to see
Time
the Frida.
management for me
Sorry?
is key. Sorry, I said time management for me is key. That's one
Please,
area that I want to
please write
improve.
it down. Drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
Yetunde, hello. Thanks for joining us. Juliet Chrome, thanks for joining us. Starboy, you still on? You've been quiet if you're still on. Drop your comments, things you would like to work on for yourself. So I jokingly say that on this slide, what I would have probably wanted to work on is
To
giving some tighter support to those girls. Teresa, are you
mhm.
still on? Needlepoint Woman would appreciate this. When you go to her to try on your clothes, she'll be like, "Are you wearing the right bra?" You know, it has to have the right lift for the attire. I've heard several, designers say that while you're doing fitting. So I look at this picture and I laugh at myself and I'm like, what was going on with that little dot? If there is something I would like to improve on in this picture, it would have been tighter support and, just keeping those girls handy. Anyway,
Go.
I say that to just lighten the mood. Time management is definitely mine. Is she laughing at me?
Yeah, I
Time
am.
management is one of mine. Um, Consistent action is another one of mine.
Mm.
My head is loaded with ideas. I start, I get bored. I don't get the resources. Then I wonder, is it that big a deal? Can I move on to something else? So, everybody else, let's see some things you'd like to improve about yourselves. Now, let's talk about what stops us from growing. If we know that growing is intentional and that we would like to grow and continue to improve ourselves, what stops us from growing? There's some things that John Maxwell describes as growth gap traps. And I can almost bet that each and every one of us will be able to relate with one or more of these growth gaps. I
Mm-hmm.
can read them off and then we can talk through them. The assumption gap, I will automatically grow. No, you won't. The knowledge gap, I don't know how to grow. Yes, you do, or you can learn. The timing gap, it's not the right time to grow. How many of us can relate? Give us a hands up, give us a high
Mm-hmm.
five if you can relate to that one. The
Yeah,
mistake
the timing
gap,
gap. Mm-hmm.
I am afraid of making mistakes. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that's a popular one.
Give us one hand, give us two hands if you can relate. The the perfection gap. I am not good enough. The inspiration gap.
Mm.
I don't feel like growing. The comparison gap. Others are better than me. The
Mm.
expectation gap. I thought it would be easier.
Be easier. Okay, that's me.
Let's talk about these things. Like I said, if we're all being honest with ourselves, when we think about the reasons we don't do a lot of things, they fall within those growth gap traps. The assumption one is easy. We kind of just, we're born, we don't know anything about it. Our parents feed us, we sleep, we wake up, and we keep growing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we just take that to be what the norm is with every growth area of our lives. But we don't grow mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, without intention. Those things are not automatic. And all those things are a big part of personal development. The knowledge gap, I don't know how to grow. Well, guess what? We all mostly start out not knowing how to grow, but then we seek knowledge. We seek knowledge for the areas we want to grow. So Abby mentioned time management is an area she wants to grow. Juliet mentioned dieting. I also said time management and consistent action. Well, we've already started with intention. These are areas we know we want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe we don't have the knowledge. What do? We seek people who have the knowledge. And that's really what the whole premise and advent of coaches are all about. The coaches dedicated to different things. I'm dedicated to transformation. I want to see us go from a journey where you're here. I want to see this bridge that you are trying to climb over, and I want to see you to the other end of it. We want to
Good.
be actually able to see the change
Mm-hmm.
that has occurred during our time together. Oh, Juliet says the network is really bad.
Yeah, sorry
Sorry,
about that,
Juliet.
Juliet. She's
Sorry,
fine.
Juliet. I can hear some echoing. I don't know if anybody else can hear that. Okay, so let's plow through this also. The timing gap. I think Abby and I said we could relate to that. Oh, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked about it already. I want to do more interactive sessions. I
Mm-hmm.
want to do more teaching. but I'm working on rebranding. I'm a brand and marketing major. I don't want to go out not looking best, so I'm going to wait till things are perfect. And then coronavirus comes and says, no, you won't. What I'm actually going to do is keep you at home and let you figure out new ways to. And when I think about thriving in our perfect perfection, I mean, what more can we use to, describe this situation we're in? Who could have told you a month ago that this would be your reality? We have to
No.
continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to continue to figure out new ways to be, and there's never going to be a right time. The right time is always now. It's always what? The present.
Now.
The present. The mistake gap. Okay, Abby said I will be
I'll
back.
be back. Let me just attend to something. I'll be back.
Okay, so you're switching off. All right.
I'm coming out, but I'll come back in.
All
So
right. Sounds
continue.
good, Abby.
All
Thanks.
right,
If
guys. See
anybody
you.
would
Let me
like
just sort out some
to,
home matters. What did you say?
all right, take care.
All
Thanks
right,
for
love.
joining me. We'll be back again tomorrow at 11. I've
Yeah.
committed to doing this for 30 days. We're going to go through the 15
And we'll
invaluable laws
grow
of
with it.
growth.
Yeah,
One
we'll
law
grow.
a day.
We'll grow.
One law a day. We'll do that for the first 15 days. That session will be done. Hopefully, I get a whole new group of people. One law a day from the 16th. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Mwah.
Hasta la
Bye.
vista.
Enjoy.
Take care.
Enjoy.
Have a
Bye,
great one.
people. All right.
Take care, Abby. So, with Abby being off um, interacting with me, anybody else can request to join me. So that way we're not just seeing only me and we're not just hearing only me. But in the meantime, you can keep, communicating through your comments. The mistake gap, I'm afraid of making mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you for how long I always sort of knew that the way of the future was going to have to be things like what we're doing if we want to teach and if we want to reach a larger audience. But it just always feels weird to me. The thought of holding my phone and recording, it feels like I'm talking to air. But then I know that you're on the other end, able to receive and able to use that information. But it's been hard for me to adjust to that. I'm coming on live. I come on live to have a good time, to play, to mess around. Or maybe I'm in the middle of something that I think, oh, people should see this or people should hear about this. Then I'll just quickly, prop up my phone and do what we always do. Hey, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. But to actually set an intention that I'm going to teach and trade knowledge and people are going to interact and do that live is very foreign to me. And how many times do you think I said to myself, ooh, if I make a mistake, da 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 da. But even when I'm teaching a live audience, what if you make a mistake? So what? Look, this is one of my favorite things that I got to tell my children and my husband, that life is all about mistakes. Mistakes are proof you're trying. Keep trying. Don't wait for the growth trap of I'll make a mistake to not let you get started. If anybody else would like to join live, please request so I can invite you on, and that way we're interacting together. The perfection gap. How many people can relate to this one? I'm not good enough. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. Am I sure? Is my content up to snuff? I've been wanting to be a designer, but are my creative design skills going to take me through? Well, if they won't, you can learn. And this is the beauty of growth and obeying the law of intention in your own personal development. The inspiration gap. I don't feel like growing. I mean, that's a lot of us, a lot of times. I don't feel like growing. I don't feel like getting up to go to work, but you do, right? The same way you set that intention and we get up and we go to work, it's the same way we need to set the intention for our personal growth. The inspiration gap. Sorry, I just said that. I don't feel like growing. The comparison gap. Others are better than me, especially in the world of social media. You can start from the bottom and stay there because you get overwhelmed from everything you see on social media. So much so that you're like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Who's going to listen to me? What do I have to offer? Why would people buy my products when they can buy that product? We call all these things limiting beliefs. And the more you tell yourself these things, the more you start believing them. So we're really better off just dropping those things and recognizing them as growth traps. The comparison gap. Um, the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier. I got started and it's so challenging. Now, where do I go from here? Well, congratulations. The more challenging it is, the better the product you're working on, or the service, or the phenomenon, whatever it is. Because the more difficult it is, the more you have to put your mind in it, the more you have to think of the end user, the more you have to brainstorm, and probably the more you have to invite other resources to help you deliver to market. All right, how are we doing so far? Comments, interaction. This is the last thing we're going to talk about on the first law, which is that of intention. There are two kinds of growth: accidental versus intentional. One growth model says, I'll start tomorrow. I'll wait for growth to come. I'm going to learn when a mistake occurs. You know what? Maybe I'll be lucky. I'm tired. I can't do this. It's not working. Quits early and often. Falls into bad habits. We've all talked about some habits we're trying to work through: time management, needing to diet, needing to take consistent action. Accidental growth talks big, plays it safe, thinks like a victim. I was doing so well until other people are doing better than me because I'm not able to get it done. I'm not lucky enough. They don't like me. Relies on talent. I have the talent and that will take me through. Talent all by itself is not going to do much for us. We need to, put in our own self-discipline. Our motivation keeps us going. And then, stopping to learn after graduation is such a huge sign of accidental growth. Now let's look at this growth on the other end. Insists on starting today, takes complete responsibility to grow, often learns before the mistakes occur. You know why? Because there's so many other people's mistakes ahead of you that you can learn from. And I always say in my teaching and coaching as a transformational lifestylist, one of my heart's desires is to help people shorten their gap to their success by learning from my mistakes and the mistakes of others, and taking knowledge from areas that other people have gone ahead of them to make that path easier for them. Relies on hard work. This is intentional growth we're talking about. Perseveres long and hard, fights for good habits, follows through, takes risks. I will add, takes calculated risks, thinks like a learner, relies on character, not just on your talent, and never stops growing. That sort of brings us to the end of content to discuss on the first law of invaluable, the first of the 15 invaluable laws of growth, and that's the law of intentionality, taken from this book by John Maxwell, a leadership guru, a coach who I have been blessed to be a part of his John Maxwell team, which holds our hands, provides us resources, provides us, the guidance to be able to adapt to our own content to come out and share. I've enjoyed my time with you all this morning. We've talked long into the afternoon. It's 12:15. I had said I'm happy to do this for as long as we're still on and engaging. Thanks to everyone who joined me. Thanks to all who joined and had to go. Thanks to the people who stayed all through to the end. I really appreciate you. Thanks, Abby. Juliet, I still see your name on there. We had Paul, we had Thabo, we had Yetunde, Rugged, Rogedi Baba. I love that name. Emorihe, Umpo, Untuli. Thank you all so much. Nancy, thank you so much. Abo Boles. I hope I'm saying that name right. Aluflo, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. And hope to see you again, same time tomorrow. Thanks, Larissa, Needlepoint Woman. Hope to see you all same time tomorrow. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody we're here from 11 a.m. till 12 noon, and we're basically talking about thriving in your imperfect perfect. Lessons taken from life and the 15 invaluable laws of growth by John Maxwell. I will go from April 1st to April 15th, one law per day, and on the 16th we will start again, one law per day, and we'll see how we do. Tell friends, tell family. We're all, staying home and being socially distant. Let's continue that. It's a period of sacrifice, and we will get through this. I really honestly recommend this as a family bonding time. If you and your family want to get up and share together, this is something that you can do as a development exercise, and then later on when we get off the call, you all can continue the conversations with one another. Signing out. Love you. I am really truly dedicated